city represents your culture well?
There are a lot of Haitians who migrate to Cambridge since it's like a sanctuary city. I think like my culture is very family oriented, and I think like we could all agree a lot of our cultures are like that. So that's something that we should probably heavily represent within the mural.
We entered this project with one goal. We wanted to create a mural for the community in our school so people of the community can enjoy the mural.
And we wanted a mural which represented the broader Cambridge communities, and especially highlighting the ones that were often not seen as well or not represented as best in our school and Cambridge community.
I feel like Cambridge has like very intricate and like complex cultures like within it. Like in Bengali culture, one form of expression is like dancing and stuff. So I think that could also be represented onto a mural in some way.
Food that tends to bring people together. We love to cook, so that should maybe be added to the mural.
Yeah, I think food, dance, clothing are like universal things that everyone can have a piece that they can identify with their culture that could also be shared with different cultures. So I think in a mural, it's even more important to highlight that.
Do you guys think there's a line between like your Cambridge identity and your actual ethnicity or culture? Or do you think it's a mix of both?
Can you elaborate?
Break that down a little bit, bro.
Do you guys think there's a culture in Cambridge, or is Cambridge a makeup of the different cultures?
It's its own culture.
What? Wait, is it its own culture, or is it like a makeup of different cultures?
I think its own culture is the makeup.
Yeah, it being a makeup is the culture, right?
You're not gonna find another city like Cambridge.
What makes Cambridge different?
If we wanted to show the culture within Cambridge and CRLS, we needed to actively hear from people on what their personal culture was and what they thought their culture in Cambridge was.
You have time, you don't have to figure this out right now, but you want to reevaluate what you're asking.
So it was important that the youth council thought about their guiding questions with the mural, because when I first met with them, the questions were a little bit general,
And especially if people are like in the moment, like a lot of people won't, especially if you set up, like people won't come and like be like, I'm gonna spend 10 minutes doing a drawing that I'm really gonna think about. It's just like,
These questions really help to figure out what to tangibly put on the mural. How can we take what the things that people said and turn them into items that we could place onto a mural, we could paint them onto a mural, so that somebody could walk past and say, hey, I contributed that, or hey, I recognize that. That's really our goal of the mural.
Like I love like the first
talking to him about the questions helped us also with the ideas that we ended up getting from the students at our school.
Like the immigrants do a lot of the hard work here, and like they're in the background. Like my mom was a janitor for a few years in hospitals here. My dad was a taxi driver, and it's like these jobs, like Cambridge wouldn't be what it is without the immigrants they have here. So I feel like a mural like this, even though Trump is trying, this mass deportation plan, whatever. I feel like this mural is important for like recognizing all the different cultures here and like what they do for the city and the impact they have on the city.
My interpretation of the purpose of this mural is to help those communities feel like they belong and that they're like making an impact and change within here.
Once we had a lot of the data that we knew was going to be into the mural and going to be painted into the mural, the next step was really talking with the school administration to be able to get the mural approved.
And we'll take those ideas with Jack and like kind of prepare what the basic idea of the mural is going to be. So in terms of like how it's going to be painted, we'll paint it outside at the community arts center, and then we'll just kind of nail it into the wall.
So you're not gonna nail it.
We're not gonna nail it. I mean, it'll get nailed.
We went through how we would set up the mural.
So there's a material called dye bond. So it's really lightweight, very durable, and you can shape it if you want. So I was like thinking maybe instead of having something
square or possibly having multiple next to each other.
That's where they actually understood that we were coming in with a plan, we were coming in with a process, and that we just needed their approval to get it done.
Jack then presented us with ideas for the mural.
And this one was more festival type things that we talked about and a little more cultural specific, like, like Indian dancers. And when we first met, it wasn't without its tense moments, but that is like any other public art project. That's part of the process.
I give my input.
Oh no. Standing up. Oh my god, bro.
Can you zoom in on this one? I had a few problems with it. So the entirety of the block consists of these 4 buildings, but the problem is these 2 are spaced way more than these 2. It looks weird because these 2 are a lot closer than the pyramid.
We also had to receive some constructive criticism as to what idea is actually going to make the most sense and be the most appealing.
But you work through it, and eventually you come up with a better product because of that. And I'm really happy with the direction that it went. Whenever I do collaborative work, the community I'm working with, in most cases, this is teens and youth, really pushed me to be a better artist.
You can walk past it every single day and see something new. I've lived in Cambridge as long as I've lived, and every single time I walk past the mural H Mart, I see something new. And obviously it's smaller, but I think a similar thing can be applied to one on the left, and I think that's why we made the mural, so it kind of encompasses that.
We sent it to the assistant principal, Ms. Milner, and got the approval. Ms. Milner loved it, staff at the school loved it, and the approval process was very easy.
Jack asked me to help him with the project that he was working on. He told me to map out what the purpose was, and I said I was interested in doing it.
So to create the mural, I used a projector to project the image onto the panels and trace them. You can't get in front of the projector because
I know, yeah.
It's tricky. Like doing
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah. Like I've done this on.
Oh, so you have to.
The process of painting the mural was actually very fun, but also anxiety provoking. We were under a time crunch and we wanted it to be really perfect.
I think having things like this which promote the inclusion of people who don't see their culture recognized and showing that as oneness and togetherness in Cambridge, I think that's very important.
A lot of times there's this image of Cambridge that's not actually representative of the full Cambridge and everyone who lives within it. I think that the mural itself is a really good representation of what we wanted it to show.
We always claim that Cambridge is extremely diverse, but I think it's relatively diverse, if that makes sense. It's very prevalent in a bunch of the activities in Cambridge and other projects. You don't really see that many people of color working on them. I wanted to inspire the youth to be more heard and seen, but also more motivated to do similar things.
But my main takeaway was how flexible you must be when creating a mural like this. Because there were multiple times where we had to shift ideas or elements due to different roadblocks. Originally, I wouldn't have thought that much flexibility would have been needed, but after going through the whole process, I've learned otherwise.
I also hope that this mural opens up more conversations about public art in school settings, and especially high schools.
Art is something that everybody can appreciate. And putting color onto the sometimes drab walls at our high school sounded like a great idea. We were inspired by the murals of David Victor that line Central Square, and the ideas of many people being represented in one place, having fun, enjoying life and each other's company was the driving force behind the mural.